Morning, children. I hope you have seen the previous video where I have talked about the public administration, right? And before that, international relations. So these are all the scope of political science, and I hope you people have understood what is it all about, right? And I'm going to start about the next scope of political science, that is the political economy. Now let me give you a brief introduction of political economy. Let's start now. Now, what is political economy now? If you see, contemporary study of political science essentially involves the study of political science, economy actually. The economic factor of politics, political factor of economics, needs and compulsions and needs of the economy of a state, nature of budget and budgeting, nature of issue of international economy, relations, interactions between politics and economics, policy making and compulsions of a state economy, economic policy of the government of a state, welfare state, sustainable development, economic dimension, political development, planning, fiscal policy and planning, export, right, taxation policy. All these you're going to study in political economy, right? And if you see in its traditional meaning, political economy is held to be that branch of art, right, of government which is concerned with a systematic inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of a nation. In simple words, we can say political economy studies the political aspects of economic policy making and also the economic aspects of political policy making. Now, if you see, political economy involves interdisciplinary studies, right? That is drawing upon economics, law, and political science, explaining how political institution, the political environment, the political relations, and economic system, right, capitalist economic system or socialist economic system influence interact with each other. It seeks to study the role of government and or power relation in source allocation in every economic system, right? Role of economic factors, interactions among the nations in the world, economic models or of political processes, right? Each political ideology has a large content of economic principles. Now, if you see in contemporary time, political scientists studies political economy principally, study the role of political power holder in the making of economic policy and the effect of economic performance on the popularity and credibility of power holders of the state. Clear? So I hope so people have understood what is political economy all about. So if you see, it is held to be that branch of art of government which is concerned with a systematic inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nation. It involves interdisciplinary studies drawing upon economics, law, and political science and explaining how political institution, the political environment, political relations, and the economic system, then the role of government of power relations, resource allocation in every economic system, then the role of economic factors, interactions among the nations in the world. All these things you're going to study under political economy. So economy, if you see economy, to Karl Marx and his followers, try to explain all political relations and interactions in terms of economic relations and class struggle between the rich and the poor. They forcefully proclaim that politics has its root in economics and hence a study of economic factors, economic class, structure, economic relation between the rich and the poor determines policy. Right. However, they accept the importance of the study of economic factors of politics and political factors of economics. Political economy studies both these dimensions. Clear? Let's come on to another slide now. So if you see that political science has been and continues to be a dynamic and continuously evolving subject of study. It is a social discipline devoted to the study of man as a political man engages the process of governing himself, right? And political science studies all aspects of politics, that the process of governance which is at work in every state, right? Let's move on to another slide now. Now, or more features of political economy now. The political scientists studying political economy study the role of political power holder in the making of economic policy. They study as to how the nation, in fact, how their government and people organize and manage the production and use of wealth. I hope so people have understood by now what is political economy all about. The economy of India, right? If you see now, how they are allocating the resources, right? How these resources, they are utilizing for welfare. Clear? So all these things we are going to read in political economy. Clear? Now, nature of political science. If you see what is the nature of political science now, some scholars hold that politics is not a science. It is an art because it has neither exactness nor the ability of prediction making. Others hold that politics is a science because it was a scientific method for the acquisition of knowledge of politics. Right. Now, traditionally, science is defined as subject categorized by exactness and predictability, everyone knows. Since politics lacks both these features, it cannot be categorized as a science. However, the modern view of science, concept that science Science is systematic study leading to determination of objective, tested, and valid conclusions. Right. So if you see, you can come, here there are different views of the scholars, whether it is a science or not, or it is not a science. Right. So if you see, I'm going to explain you how political science is not a science. Right. And I'm going to give you some arguments in support of this. And in again the coming slides, I'm going to explain you arguments in support of the view that political science is a science. Clear, everyone? So I'm going to have now just see, political science is a science. Now what you're going to see, lack of agreed principles of political science. Now there are no good agreed principles in politics. Scholars have different views even regarding meaning, definition, and scope. Right. There's a lack of general agreed principles of politics. That's why politics is never a science. Now lack of exactness. No, you cannot. Now political science lacks exactness. Politics does not provide exact knowledge about state, government, and other institutions and processes of politics. Right. And on the other hand, science stands for exactness in the knowledge of the field. Then prediction making. The main quality of science is its ability to predict. A scientist can make valid and exact prediction in physics, chemistry, right, in astronomy. However, in political science, little exact or definite predictions are possible. The lawmakers cannot predict the success of law. The people cannot predict the behavior of their representatives. Elections results cannot be really predicted. Because of this weakness, politics is neither a science nor can it become a real science in future. Clear? Now next, non-operation of the law of cause and effect. Now in the sphere of science, the law of cause and effect is always and certainly present. Now some causes lead to some effects. Now, right, if you see, whenever potassium chloride is heated, it gives out oxygen. Right, when we add magnesium dioxide to it, this process becomes faster. Right, the properties of oxygen stand predicted beyond doubt. However, some causes do not lead to same effect in politics. In some states, poverty acts as a cause of revolution, while in other it leads to stagnation in social life. Right. So the you can very well narrate that is simply a non-operation of the law. Right. Next, experiments are not possible in politics. If you see in science, say physics, the scientists can prove their conclusions or prove the validity of the law of physics by conducting several experiments in their laboratory. Experiments under controlled condition can be conducted in science, and the validity of conclusion can be proved. However, experimentation is not possible in politics. The validity of so-called laws of politics cannot be demonstrated through experiment. Arguments for or against can be given, but no scientific and tested conclusions can be made. Clear? So this way it is proved that political science is not a science. Now let's move to another slide now. Now, arguments support how politics is a science. Now, if you see use of scientific method, now political science is a science because it uses scientific method of study. It depends upon observation, classification, interpretation, analysis of data for theory building. It involves a systematic acquisition of knowledge. Right. Then next, validity of conclusion. Presently, the use of systematic method of study has made it possible for the political scientist to arrive at valid, verified, and tested conclusion. The verification of conclusion is now becoming increasingly possible in the natural science. The conclusion are 100% valid because of definiteness and exactness. Since subject matter of politics is human behavior, which is very dynamic, a high degree of exactness is not really possible. Right. So this is in fact the case of every social science like economics, sociology. Like you cannot predict exactly what you can make prediction out of human behavior. Right. But still somehow you can judge, right, psychologically, right, how come this behavior leads a negative atmosphere or positive atmosphere. Clear? Next, you can see increasing ability of political science to make prediction. Now development of new concepts, tool, methods, and approaches, as well as the increasing ability to arrive at tested conclusions, have been increasing the scope of prediction making in politics. Of course, we cannot make deterministic and 100% valid prediction in politics, but we can make reasonably valid predictions. Clear? Like we can certainly predict the outcome of a poll to a very large extent. Clear, everyone? Opinion polling has increased the ability to do so. Then possibility of experimentation. It is true that experiments under controlled laboratory condition cannot be made in politics. However, social experimentation is possible in politics. The whole of India is a laboratory in which the success of a democratic system is being continuously tested. The use of computers has increased the ability of political scientists to collect and analyze data and help the society to adopt certain policies. Then you have even scientific knowledge lacks exactness. If you see, it is indeed untrue to say that scientific knowledge is absolutely exact. History of evolution of science clearly shows that some principles of science which were considered fully valid in the 19th century were proved to be wrong in the 20th century. Right? Theory of electricity is now based upon certain principles which are different from the principles that was held earlier. Right. Now, if you see, meteorology is a natural science which seeks to explain and make prediction about climate and climate changing. Right. It makes weather forecasts which are at times found to be inexact and even inaccurate. Clear. So, political politics can make probabilistic from prediction or conditional prediction which can be accurate to a large extent. Now, politics has several agreed principles. It is not fully correct to say that politics has no uniform agreed principle. It is now a set of agreed principle whose validity is stand accepted by all. The value of democracy as a system of governance which alone can secure the ideals of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity or brotherhood stands fully established. Moreover, now several principles like liberalism, open struggle for power, democratic rule of law, right, and many others stand fully recognized and respected. Right. Next, if you saw law of cause and effect, now it is also not fully correct to say that a law of cause and effect is non-operative in politics. No doubt it does not operate in exactly in politics as it operated in a natural science. Nevertheless, it is operative in a sphere of political science to some extent. Right. If you can see, like, it can be safely said that widespread inequalities and exploitation of the masses by a class or some classes always provide a rich ground for a popular revolution against the established order. By analyzing the causes behind several revolutions which have already taken place, we can get the knowledge about causes of revolution and which can be used for ascertaining the chances of a revolution in a society which is categorized by similar factors. So, if you see, on the basis of these arguments, almost all modern political scientists strongly uphold the view that politics is a science. It admits scientific method of study. It involves a systematic attempt to acquire systematic knowledge, right, scientific knowledge of the political phenomenon. Right, politics is a science because, as Bryce puts it, right, if you see, like, Price is a political scientist, right, he admits scientific theory building through the use of scientific method of study. Political science use scientific method and hence it is a science. Right. I hope so. Till here, everyone has understood ki how come political science is a science, how come political science is not a science. Right. So till here, this way I hope so. By the end of this video, you have come to know about basically what is political science, how it has its effects in the economy, in the society, and what interdisciplinary branches we are going to study in political science. Clear, everyone? I hope so you got the view, the idea about what is it this chapter all about. Clear. So I've already given the arguments in support that political science is a science, and other arguments that political science is not a science. Clear, everyone? So do listen the videos attentively, and I hope so people have understood by now what is it all about. Clear? What is the nature of political science? Clear, everyone? And if you see traditional view or the modern view, right, so basically traditional writers, if you see, science is a, they say ki science is a body of exact knowledge of principles capable of explaining every relevant phenomena in a selected field. Right. Exactness and predictability constitute the two fundamental properties of science. Right. And these qualities are found in natural sciences, right, like physics and chemistry, but these do not categorize politics. Hence politics is not a science. So traditionally this was totally rejected by the traditional political scientist. Right. But later on, if you see the use of scientific methods, right, the conclusions, the increasing ability of political science to make a prediction, right, then possibility of experimentation, then the scientific knowledge, and then later on, if you see the some agreed principles started coming up. Right. If you see the value of democracy, a system of governance which alone can secure the ideals of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity stands fully established. Right. Then if you have seen the law of cause and effect, right, if you can see, it is also not fully correct to say that law of cause and effect is non-operative in politics. Right. But somehow, if you can see, it can be safely said that widespread inequality and exploitation of the masses by a class or some classes always provide a rich ground for a popular revolution against the established order. So by analyzing the causes behind several revolutions which have already taken place, we can get the knowledge about causes of revolution which can be used for ascertaining the chances of a revolution in a society which is categorized by a similar factor. So lot many things we can come to know in political science. Right. Okay, then thank you.